Mm, panela sí hay. A mí, panela sí hay. Limón no. Pero, hombre, ¿y hay una? Esa es. Ay, Jorge. Ujú.
Bouncing off of, at least having some type of a pullback.
Ujú. Ujú.
Nice audio video check. How's everything going? How's everything going? No buffer? Is it? Are we having any buffer issues tonight? Give me a few moments while I get some things set up on my end.
Oh, yeah.
As
Pero,
always, loud and clear. Loud and clear. All right. All right. All right.
ese negocio era de
Better than
bonificación.
yesterday? Good. So far, by far,
Sí, pero él
by
vivía en
far,
ese techo.
amazing.
Tú me,
Perfect.
tú me,
Wow. Okay. I mean, the stream looks clean on my end. It looks really clean. I went through and cleared a bunch of things, made sure we're in made sure we're in 4K, 1440p here on the YouTube, and yeah, looks good. Looks good. How was your day? How's everybody's day in these absolutely insane markets? This beautiful um, megaphone pattern that we seen today during this New York session. It was a rough one. It's was it rough? You know, this could have been pretty good trading for someone who noticed this. Green, 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 great. Buy gold. A cat yells. A cat yells. So plus 6K. Trader Ben. Good. Well, so far so good. It looks like traders are doing pretty well. Let me get a few things. Let me make sure I get this. I'll make sure we're getting into a sim account to go through and test these waters. We do have big news coming out tomorrow, so let's get it. Let's get to it. Did I share the top step risk disclosure? Did I share that yet? No, I did not. Let's get that shared and start. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, there's our top step risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. Everything that you see is for educational purposes only. It is not a freaking signals class. It's not a signals class. I repeat, we are not watching some guy on YouTube and following their trades, thinking that that is their own process. Um, Now let's get through. It's been a while since we did a full market rapid fire going through the Nasdaq, crude oil, the Nikkei, and gold. So let's run through those because it has been a while. Let's start with Nasdaq. That's been the talk of the town. That's what everyone's been watching, focusing on. Interesting day, very
Order
interesting day
filled.
today here in the Nasdaq, where I mean, I was talking about this during fast markets, looking for another doji. I think we got one doji, as in we're opening and closing about at the same area. We basically opened and closed within 50 points. 50 points in the Nasdaq is nothing right now, and it's an interesting spot, to be honest. It really is 19,400. I don't want to sound like a broken record how I say it. It's an interesting spot all the time. But yeah, this is a level that I could see the NASDAQ bouncing off of, at least having some type of a pullback off of this level. I'm not surprised. If not, then the next level I have is going to be, even further down. Maybe these 18,900. Maybe we could come down and test 18,900. So, I mean, if we're gonna see a rally, we might start to see a little bit of a pullback here. Now, this is on the daily chart. Maybe maybe it happened intraday, right? Maybe we zoom in and we could say, yeah, you know what? We did see a rally. It lasted a full hour. That was right there. 1 hour. That was the rally. That was the bounce. We also got a bit of a bounce yesterday as well off these 19,200s. So we are seeing some consolidation. The question is, are we going to sell off, go through to 18,900, or are we finally going to find a little bit of a pullback and maybe a little bit more of consolidation? I don't know. Tomorrow we have a big news event. I'm sure the market's patiently waiting to what's this one? Big Japan natural for long-term rates. Okay, let's see. We have the big news. We have U.S. CPI. So U.S. CPI, that is a big one for tomorrow. I'm not expecting too crazy of the moves tonight, unless some of this stuff, ECB, lots of ECB speakers, maybe something overseas talking about tariffs, right? Tariffs. Everyone's talking about it. Maybe we get some type of geopolitical news about tariffs, about some retaliation, or who knows what can actually happen in this market now with all the headline risk going on. But if nothing comes out, I'm going to expect some consolidation. We are up 0.3%. We were up a lot more a moment ago, and I'm expecting us to stay in this consolidation inside this range. You can see where we did close at 19,400, and we gapped up. We gapped up tonight at 5 p.m. at the open tonight. So we did gap up. So a little 20 point gap, just tiny gap for the way the NASDAQ has been moving. So maybe we just get to see a kind of a pullback down into this area. Maybe some consolidation, patience, right? Should we stay away from CPI or stay away from CPI markets? It's usually the better choice, right, in these volatile markets. And with CPI, which is CPI's a major news event, which we see increase in volatility. And so you can imagine we have a volatile market already with all the headline risk and everything that's going on, and then you throw in a CPI number in there, you can see some pretty crazy and sporadic movements. So let's zoom in on a 5-minute chart. And yeah, I don't know. This is just one where I'm not seeing anything too crazy for a setup. Not like the last 2 nights. The last 2 nights were pretty straightforward. We did come up, and you can see over here on the left, this was support. During the last 10 minutes, we sold off, and now this support so far has become resistance. We looks like we rallied up to these 490s. We didn't quite get to 500, and now we're starting to pull back here. And yeah, like I said, there's that gap down here towards 400. Maybe we rotate back down. It's weird seeing the NASDAQ in positive territory, being plus 0.35. I don't have too much. I think that's it for the NASDAQ. Let's move on to crude oil. Haven't talked a lot about crude oil, but let's see where we're at. It's been a while since I've seen crude oil, and oh wow, has it really been that long? Last time I looked at crude, I was looking for these 65 targets. Anybody remember that? It's been a while. It really has been a while since I looked at crude. We were hanging around these $70 a barrel for the longest time, and it looks like since I went on vacation that week, we sold off right down here towards the target of 65.50. I've been eyeballing this 65.50 and this lower area since way in the heck up here. Eyeballing it, talking it, trading it are two different things, but we finally got to it. It's been a while since I've talked about crude. Now the question is, are we going? Well, it looks like we already got a bit of a rally, right? We got a little bit of bounce off that level, and do we stay range bound again? Is this crude going to be in a range-bound market like we were in back in October, November, December? It was a very ugly and choppy market. I mean, maybe, maybe. I hope not, but you know, I have to reduce my expectations here in crude. So I think the trend has started to slow down, right? Because we got to a nice key level. It's been, sell these rallies, sell these rallies, sell these rallies have been paying really well here in crude. And now that we got to a key level, I think it's just now sit on our hands, wait and see what crude's going to be doing. For the way that I view this is on a longer term, right? You can see this is a higher time frame. We could zoom in for a little bit and see what it looks like on a, what is not 5 second, we do 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart, 5-minute chart looks pretty bearish to me. Pretty bearish. I mean, are we going to be selling rallies throughout this and make a run lower? Maybe. This is a tough one. This is a tough one to trade, right? Lower highs, higher lows, maybe some type of wedge, and messy price action here in crude. Messy price actions here in crude. Let's take a look at the Nikkei and then gold, and we'll get to some questions. Let's take a look at the Nikkei. It's been a while on the Nikkei. I could only imagine what that has been looking like. Let's zoom out and let's see what the Nikkei's been doing. And hey, that's an ugly one. That's an ugly one. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. The Nikkei is the Japanese market, and yeah, we've been in a range, just like we've been in a range for a very long time here. We picked a direction. We broke down to the bottom end of this range, and yeah, I mean, simple, straightforward, right? We broke down. It was a breakdown trade. We got all the way down to these lows. These are, August and September's lows. This obviously is a pretty clear place that if we was going to find some support, we were able to find some support there. And it looks like we are finding some buyers in this market so far over the past 24 hours. And let me zoom in. Let me continue to zoom in. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. This one's messy. It's pretty ugly. It's not that great. And yeah, I think this is just another. All these markets are in a position to where I think the best thing to do in the way that I trade is sit on my hands. Sit in my hands. These market is not in a good position with big news coming out tomorrow. Let's take a look at gold. Wow, overnight low. What do you mean? I'm not sure what you refer to that. So let's take a look at gold, and then we'll get to some questions. Gold is selling off. Gold is selling off. That is the trade so far. Ever since I started slow markets, we do see volatility. Before it was as soon as I start slow markets, we buy it. But now it looks like as soon as I start slow markets, we sell it. And it's looking like a pretty good short, to be honest. Looking like a good short. You can see every time gold has got up here towards these 29.30s, it's been a good sell. It really has. And I don't trade gold very often, but I could imagine. Do we see a rotation back down towards... Do we see a rotation down here towards 29.10? Test some of these lows that we have been testing for the past week or so. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. Now, this is quite the strong rally. We rallied pretty hard off this pullback from, I mean, we got down to 28.50, rallied, consolidated. So I don't want to be a buyer right now. I would much want to be positioned towards, maybe a little bit of a pullback down here towards these 29.11s. And then looking for buying opportunities here, or some short-term scalps down to that area. But still, once again, big news tomorrow, big number coming out tomorrow, and that's going to affect a variety of things. So it's patience. Do we want to be a seller on this rally that we've started to see, right? As we start to zoom in, I'm now on a 5-minute chart, and yeah, we've been rallying, and this current trend, right? This immediate trend over the past 24 hours is bullish, but then we zoomed out onto this hourly chart, and there is, some bearish pressure coming into these markets. So I think that my overall sentiment in any of these markets is just kind of just patience, wait, nothing too crazy going on. This volatile NASDAQ that we've been seeing some big moves. I mean, just as I've been speaking, I mean, there's 50 points, right? There's 50 plus points since I started slow markets, which is very abnormal. Usually it's 10 points, 10 points, 15 points, 10 to 15 points in 30 minutes is good in during the Asian session, during slow markets. But now it's just so insane, and I think this is a good visual representation. I talk about it a lot more often now than I used to. This is an ATR. It's an average true range. This just kind of measures the volatility of whatever time frame you're using, and I use it as a good tool to help us, at least help me understand what kind of a market we are in. And so you could see, volatility during the peak, you can see the New York session open, and then we have, you can see it. I mean, there's patterns. New York session open, New York session closed during power hour. That's why you see peaking volatility, and then kind of a slowdown throughout lunch, and then a peak at the end of the New York session, right? And then we just sell off. And then, some consolidation here at this time of night. We see the Asian session open. And then we start to pick up again during the London session. And it's a very common pattern. This is how markets have been forever. And so this is what I was kind of talking about during fast markets, if you guys caught it, where I was talking with the team about how would, the market being open 24 hours affect it. This is what I'm referring to. I'm saying, if the market's open 24 hours, then I think we would see a change in the way that the average true range, the markets move, and then maybe like the market, I guess, fingerprint, the market in itself, the characteristics of how the market is might be adjusted, because this is pretty straightforward and simple, right? New York session open, power hour, close, and how a lot of traders are used to it. If we get trading for 24 hours, then there might be a change, right? Market dynamics, market participants, market volatility. When's the volatility coming in? Are we still going to see these peaks? Are the peak of this volatility during the New York session going to still be as high? Are we still going to be seeing high volatility at this time? Or are the peaks of the volatility going to be like much lower if we were open 24 hours? I don't know. This is the questions that I have going into like those kinds of conversations. But that being said, like, look how volatile this market is. Like, if we just look at this and say, on average, during the New York session, I mean, this is a 5-minute chart. This is a 5-minute chart. So on average, the market has been moving about 65 points every 5 minutes. 65 points every 5 minutes. That's a freaking volatile market. Like, who can handle, like, that's so volatile. Like, you imagine what, like, back throughout the summer during slow months, you're happy to make 10, 15, heck, a 30-point trade was great. Now it's like 70 points, 65 points in 5 minutes is just a blink of an eye. It's insane. And you want to see that, we zoom out. So we zoom out. So this is a 5-minute time frame, understanding, volatility and how it looks on a 5-minute time frame. And it's over a period of 2 weeks. This looks like it's 2 weeks, starting February 28th until today. And so if we zoom out to an hourly chart, you could see it. Like, look at this. This is going now back to October. Back in October, you could see that the waves of this market opens, market closes, and that's kind of how it is, right? This is a very thick line, so you guys could see it. Let's Let me see if I could adjust it. There we go. Make it look a little better visually. But yeah, market open, market close, market open. So this is an hourly chart, and you can see this is a normal market condition, right? This is normal market condition back here in like October, where you could see an ATR for an hourly chart, right? Not a 5-minute. Every 5 hours here on the NASDAQ, the peak is usually 60 points. An hour, 60 points. We're getting that every 5 minutes right now. And you could kind of put that into comparison. Look at August. You remember that crazy volatility in August? At one point, we got up to 200 points every hour back in August during that crazy volatility back in August. And now we take a look, see how the rest of the months have been, and sure, we see spike in volatility during news every once in a while, non-farm payroll, FOMC, but now look where we're at. I mean, ATR is starting to get up there. It's not as crazy as back in August, right? We look at August. August we were up at 223. Now we are it's what do I say, a slow grind, but it's not like August. August it was fast, right? See how fast we picked up volatility? It was just like we're down here at 70, 80 points every hour, and then we just straight up. But this is interesting. It's not just a jump up. We are consistently increasing in volatility. And if this is to be said, tonight and overnight, we're probably going to see this thing go back down. And then when the New York session opens up, tomorrow's CPI. Tomorrow night, you're going to be here. When I have Coach Jay's going to be on with me tomorrow night, I'm pretty confident we're going to be getting close up to 180 points every hour. So continuing to increase this volatility, it's expanding. It's getting even more crazy. And let me show you what it looks like on a daily. This will blow your mind on the daily chart. Look at this. Like you could see where we typically would be trading on the daily, and just peak in volatility. We're getting up there. Daily range and volatility every day, 500 points, 500 points, 500 points. It's just a very volatile market that we're in. Let me look at the 4 hour. Let me look at the 4 hour. See if that's just a different perspective, I guess. Different perspective. What kind of a market condition we are currently in. So this helps us. This helps me as a trader sometimes look at this and say, this gives us a real idea of what kind of a market condition we are trading, where we are at, what our position size is, maybe sizing down, stops, take profits, what's realistic, what we could expect, and so forth. I wonder if that MLL would ever get put to end of day rather than hard cutoff. Not sure what you mean by that. VIX is at recent high. NQ bounce tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. We do have CPI tomorrow, so anything can happen. So let's get to some questions. Like I said, it's been a while since I had some questions. We got to some questions. We're finally seeing a little bit slower market today, so I have more time. No, we got the tech issues fixed. And yeah, it's a good stream so far. No data issues, tech issues fixed. I have Coach Jay joining me tomorrow. We'll be reviewing some trading account combines, XFA statistics. Remember, Wednesdays I have Coach Jay with me. We review statistics on Wednesdays, so that's always a fun one. Today I made most money in the last 3 months just with MES. It's ridiculous. Yeah, micros. Micros is the way to go. I passed for the first time. How could I not lose my XFA? Micros. Trade smaller. 1 to 2 micros. 2 weeks ago, I reviewed statistics with Coach Jay, and there's a trader in an XFA. He was in that XFA. He or she was in that XFA for 5 months, and they were trading micros. And they started to struggle, and he traded small. They traded smaller, and yeah. If you want to keep an account open, practice your process, become a better trader, you scale down. You scale down. draw fib either way. Uh-oh. There you are, Jesse. Draw a fib either way. Are you... Should my hands be currently under my behind? Thanks, Dakota. Even MES is moving almost 100 pips a day. Pips! You come from Forex, Mohammed. Mohammed, you are a Forex trader using that trading vocabulary. It's been a while since I referenced pips. It's been quite a while since I did that. MP just tweeted to you. MP's having a blast over there. Let's see what's going on. At Boca FIA, first I heard of this tweet idea, adding to your pressure Dakota top step will match whatever. Oh gosh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, okay, yeah, that's funny. That's funny, Skylar. MP's amazing, man. MP is absolutely amazing. Oh man, Jesse, turn to coat. Passed an eval trading strictly slow markets. Wow, congratulations! Passed an eval trading slow markets. Paid out 26K yesterday. Nice. That's what we're here for. That is 100% what we're here for. We have spoken on Twitter comments before. Oh, this Twitterverse is something else. It really is. I made $2,000 payout for the last 15 days using just up to 5 micros, taking less than 10 trades a day. Amazing, Sonny. I mean, I cannot count how many times I've seen the same thing. It really is a testimony about trading smaller. Trade smaller, trade less frequent. You just like whatever how many trades you take a day, cut that in half, size down half your size, and try it out if you haven't. If you're struggling, that's probably the best recommendation is like, how many trades do you take a day? If you're taking 20, cut it down to 10. How big of size are you trading? If you're trading 1 mini, cut it down to 5 micros, and just trade like that and see how you do. You might find yourself trading a lot better. Haven't watched this stream in a while. Do you still trade the Nikkei? Yes, I do. We've been reviewing the Nikkei. I just talked about it tonight, and haven't placed a trade on the Nikkei for a while. The NASDAQ has kind of taken priority. Took a week off last week, getting back into the swing of things, and this volatility is something else. I haven't been able to split my attention up outside of the NASDAQ. NQ 20 points up. Yeah, we've moved 20 points up. We got down to 39. Do you think copy trading is worth it? I find I like trading each account separately. Ooh, that's a good question. Is copy trading worth it? I will say it depends. It depends on a few things. And here's why. It's if you developed a process and you're confident in your process, then I believe copy trading could be beneficial. It helps you with the psychological side when you're looking at the P&L, right? You make $200, and if you're copy trading 5 accounts, you've actually made $1,000. So I think on the psychological side of things, it can help, but I don't think copy trading is worth it if you're brand new and you're learning how to trade, right? It's exactly like what you're saying. It's like another form of leverage. It's just a multiplier. I have my own feelings on it. When I first started discovering what it was, I didn't like it. I tried it. I still didn't really like it. From a coach's perspective, I'm trying to help a new trader out. I didn't like it just because it allowed traders to spend more money, and it allowed traders to over leverage when they haven't even taken their first payout. And so if you haven't taken your first payout and you don't have a process, then I'm very much against copy trading. But if you have the confidence and you have a process and you'll understand how it works, and maybe even if you're struggling with your emotional side, seeing bigger P&L swings, then there can be an advantage. Once I understood that, I tested everything out. I took advantage of it. I don't mind admitting it. I've always admitted it. I don't understand why some traders give me crap about it. I took advantage of every little aspect that I can in this prop firm world. Here at TopStep, 5 accounts. Give that to me. Copy trade. Heck yes, I'm going to do that. Now I'm not saying it's free money, but I can make $20,000-$30,000 in an XFA. Why not times it by 5, right? Simple, straightforward. I took advantage of it. And then I got called up to a live account, and they're like, yeah, while you're in a live account, you could trade combines and pass and trade XFAs while you have a live account. And then I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Have my live account, queue up, and then, it's like keep doing it until you can't do it anymore type thing. So no copy trading with multiple live accounts. So as of right now, if you have a live account, you cannot trade an XFA. Now that doesn't mean things can change. I mean, there's always conversations. You see conversation on TopStep TV. You see conversations on throughout social media about copy trading and all this other fun stuff. So the one thing I've learned in being in the prop firm world for over a year is that it's fluid. Things change. Some things you're gonna miss. Some things you're not gonna like. We're traders, so changing is very important, and adjusting to those changes. Glitching, buffer. Maybe refresh if you're seeing buffer. I don't know why. We shouldn't be getting buffering. Lobo, TopStep is trash. Okay. Next on that one, I definitely will take the opposite side of that one. That is shouldn't have even read that one out loud. That's what I get for reading comments out loud. They're watching. Hey, Lobo, stick around, watch. You might learn something. What do you make of the Asian Session rally and the NQ yesterday? Didn't really pay too much attention to it. Every rally that we've had has been sold off. Lots of volatility. TopStep is legit. Do you think that you cut rates tomorrow? Why is it trying to go through? There's the Zimmer I know. There's that Zimmer I know. You can always tell a quality of a person by their comments. From Egypt. You are from Egypt. I've been wanting to plan a trip to go to Egypt. Can I check crude oil? I did at the start of class. You can go back and rewatch it. I'm watching the NASDAQ for a moment and answering some questions, and I'll go through and check some more. Like I said, we still have a little bit less than an hour to go through it. Oh, it's just an opinion. I watch you guys always. Yeah, everyone has their everybody has the right to an opinion. But there are lines when it comes to typing stuff in the chat. Am I ready for some spring golf? 100%. I actually have my clubs ready. Is there a play you're looking for in particular with the NASDAQ? Nope. Like I said, we do have CPI tomorrow. CPI tomorrow. So for me, it's just wait. We also not only do we have CPI, we have the bank BOCS, Bank of Canada, correct? Rate statement and rate decision. So there's plenty of news coming out tomorrow. Kind of just really enjoying this calm market right now at the moment. You know, last night, look at last night. That was the furthest thing from calm. We seen more volatility last night during slow markets like we did during fast markets. Last night was, what was that? That was just straight down and straight up. Absolutely insane. Funny thing is, during slow markets, guess where we got long? Last night was slow markets. We were long, I don't know, somewhere down here. Oh, that just so crazy, this volatility. Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon. Here you go, Sailor Moon. Here we go, Sailor Moon. How's Sailor Moon doing? How's the Sailor Moon doing? It's not a moon. It's not moonin'. Sailor's Moon is not moonin'. That's for sure. We got down 77. 77. Is there more pain? Is there more pain? This is crazy. Bitcoin. I don't. Everyone knows me. I was looking for these 88s. I was looking for the market to break down, and we finally got there. And I do have to admit, I'm looking at buying Bitcoin. I am now looking at putting some money into Bitcoin. See, I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet, because I still think that there could be another move down, and I want to see more consolidation, and I want to be more of a confirmation. Maybe we see either further downside. I'm not sure, but I am looking at putting money into Bitcoin for longer term. I don't longer term. I struggle to use the word investment, but yeah, we are going to see. We came up, we tested 100,000, we stayed around 100,000 for a month or two, and we finally we broke down, and we very violent, right? I was talking about how these moves in Bitcoin was about 28 to 30%, and this is about there. This is about there. So we are about at this level that I was referring to. Now, in terms of the dollar price movements, it doesn't matter. For me, it's more about a percentage, right? When we have a sell-off here on Bitcoin, look, that's 24%. This one was more dramatic. It was 28%. And there's been other moves in Bitcoin as well. But, close to about 30% is what I've been looking for. And we're there. We're 30%. And so now I want to see if we get consolidation, some type of reversal. And yes, I am, like I said, I did the risk disclosure in the YouTube. It's for education. This is just my personal opinion. And what I'm talking about. I like Bitcoin down here at these prices. Obviously, a lot better up here. So I am officially becoming a bull in Bitcoin if we see consolidation, because I need to see a clear risk reward. I need to see something in this market to say, okay, if I buy here, where is my stop going to be? If I put in $83,000 am I going to risk 30,000, right? Like that would be my risk on Bitcoin. But then where's my reward going to be? Well, I mean, if we go back up to 100,000, it's not a great risk reward. If I'm going to look for something like more longer term, it can't really get up there. I don't know. I would much rather wait if we could get, my entry to maybe back, maybe even lower, maybe somewhere near these bottoms. I'm not sure. Maybe this will give me an opportunity to tighten up a stop loss. I'm not sure. There's a lot that I've been watching in Bitcoin for a longer term. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the coin of bits. The coin of bits. Kind of half tempted to. I'm gonna get in one right here. One micro. One micro NASDAQ. Micro Nazi. See if I could pay for dinner here. The perfect buy would be after a massive sell-off, like around 50K. Bitcoins for the birds. What instruments do you recommend to pass a challenge? As a newer trader, do you recommend S&P? As a new trader, if I was ever going to recommend an instrument or something to trade, my pure recommendation for a new trader, brand new, never traded the markets before, and you want to become consistent and take payouts, my recommendation is this: MES. The S&Ps, micros. This is my recommendation. It's a lot more tame than the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ gets a lot of, news and airtime because it's so popular. But MES, ES, micros, micro S&P, not the ES. It's big, right? As a brand new trader, I recommend MES, and that's my personal recommendation from what my experience is, from what I see, and yeah, that's it. Let's see, what's my risk on this thing? I'll risk $100 on it. 50 points, risking $100. I like this gold move. Add it to my shorts. Andre says 100% agree. Andre's in here. I recommend. I love MES. Sometimes I even tell myself I need to trade ES compared to the NASDAQ. I get tunnel vision sometimes, focusing on the NASDAQ, focusing on minis. And sometimes on markets like this, you do have to just take a step back and say, you know what? Micros. You know what? Let's trade a more tame market, especially if you are new and you're still trying to get a payout. So Andre agrees. One of these days we'll get Andre on with me. I might have to fly out to Chicago and buy him dinner or something. What was the reason to take a short right now? Well, this market's pretty bearish, right? We're up 0.3, and I'm looking at this to be a shoulder head and then a shoulder pattern, and I'm looking for this market to make maybe a run back down towards 400. So I'm looking for a move lower. We do have CPI tomorrow. And that's playing. This is just a micro. This is something like, oh man, I really like this trade. This is a great setup. This is just a small trade, looking for consolidation, looking for the market to consolidate, and looking for this thing to possibly push lower. We got a 3-bar reversal, right? 5-minute 3-bar reversal. I'm a little bit late. I obviously would like to have got it at a better price, maybe 61, but it closed. We came down. We are finding some support, so I don't mind risking $100 to see if we can make a run, get a 1-to-1 trade right here, come back down. So it's something like this, but I don't want to have a take profit because we know how crazy this market can be. We could blink and this market could sell off 100 or 200 points. On the second candle might be a little late. This is a little late. I mean, I could have got 9 points better, but this is a good setup anyway. 520 long target. Dow is good for new traders. I don't have any experience in the Dow, so I would have a hard time recommending it. That's the thing. If I had more experience, then I might be able to recommend the Dow. Might. I still have a harder time recommending it. I have some experience, and I would say MES for beginners. Late compared to what? Each trade stands alone. Late for how I typically would get in. I like to get in trades early, and sometimes I get punished for it. This one is late as in, you know, I sacrificed 5 points. Sacrificed 5 points. I'm running a stream. Micros. I sacrificed, what's 5 points on a MES? It's $10. I sacrificed $10. What's the profit target? My profit target's going to be down here, fill this gap, basically go back down towards 400 where we opened up tonight, and see if we get some, a pushback down and having consolidation. I'm looking for this market to consolidate going into CPI tomorrow, and we're up 0.31. It's weird to think that I'm going to look for consolidation in the Asian session, and I'm looking at 53 points. I mean, we still have, 40 minutes left of class, and if we do get a move down, I might even close this before I go to bed, because do I really want to hold a position overnight? No, I definitely do not want to be holding a position into CPI. Too scared for that. When does gold roll over? You'll have to double check. Yeah, you'll have to double check. I know who'd know. If Hoop was in here, Hoop 100% knows. Coach Hoop does. How much weight do you put on RSI as a confluence? 0 for me, Chuck. I do not look at RSI when I'm trading. Are they letting you announce any info on the 150K celebration? No, I do not. I do not know any information. I do not. You'll have to stay tuned to TopStep TV. When they announce it, they'll announce it there most likely, or on their Twitter account, or some sort. We're getting some wiggle here. Some move. 15 days for GC. There you go. Andrew coming in clutch. 15 days for the rollover on GC. Which of the combine did you start with? I started with the 150K. Remember, everybody, don't do exactly what I'm doing. I'm approaching this when I'm talking to traders, I'm approaching this as if you're brand new, okay? And you're trying to learn to be consistent. So if you were brand new, or if you're new, I would recommend just testing it with the smallest account size and trade 1 micro until you get a hang of things. I mean, I would never recommend somebody go 5 accounts at the biggest accounts. I'd just say do the smallest one, put the least amount of money in, dip your toes in the water, so to say, get used to the platform, understand how it works, trade 1 micro, get used to it, practice, develop a process, and then when you feel confident and you feel ready, maybe you could try a different account size. Or heck, who knows, maybe you do get pass a combine in the 50K, you get funded, you take a payout, you use that payout, and you could get another account. I mean, I've seen traders do so many different things. And if I'm already locked out today, go full park. So full port on your slow market signals? No, this is not a signals class. What is your favorite setup that you look for? Favorite setup that I look for? Oh, that is a good question. I love buying pullbacks. My favorite setup that I look for, I'll show you an example. There was my favorite setup. Well, we've been a bear market. I haven't seen any of my favorite setups for a while because we're in a bear market. But buying pullbacks with the trends on a 3-bar reversal at support, hands down. That is what I live for. Just, yeah. Like, here's a good, okay, you know what? Here's an example, okay? If this trend is up, we get a pullback, and we're at a level of support, right? Support, resistance, support, resistance. And we get a beautiful 3-bar reversal right there. Right there. See that? That's like back up the truck. This is entry right there. Stop loss, opposite side. We're at this nice level. Resistance, support. Give me that. I'd take that trade. If I could only trade one setup for the rest of my life, that's it right there. Just with the bullish trend. I'm a bull at heart, so I love buying the market. So, you know, if we're rallying up and we pull back at a level of support and resistance and we get a 3-bar reversal, yeah, that's it. Yep, that is it. Then my first target's going to be the next resistance. Next resistance is probably going to be up here. So my first target would be somewhere in, like, somewhere right in this area. So that would be my first target right there. And then I'll try and hold on to a runner. But this hasn't happened very often because we've been selling off. Now you could essentially just flip it upside down and say the same thing. Here was my setup. This was the beautiful setup. I said it while it was happening too. We sold off. Look, sold off. This has happened during New York session. We got a nice pullback, right? And this would happen to be the VWAP. I remember there was a VWAP right here. The VWAP was somewhere like this. And we get this picture perfect 3-bar reversal with the trend. First take profit, probably going to be right around that area, this support. And remember, this is hindsight. And then leave one off as a runner. So that beautiful. It's just inverse of, right? You just Alt-I, and you can say, yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm a bull at heart, so the market's going. We get a nice pullback. Beautiful 3-bar reversal. That reversal happens to be at, like, looks like a pretty decent area of support resistance. And then we get that nice continuation. Yeah, absolutely love it. But the market was selling off, and I am not the best at selling markets. I love to buy markets. Is there a fake 3-bar reversal? Yeah, ones that don't work. That's why you have a stop loss. Yep, stop losses. Favorite time frame to place trades? 5 minute. 5 minute. I place my trades on the 5-minute chart. What does slow markets mean? It means the markets are slower than normal. Like, typically, right? We're seeing lots of volatility as of late, and so markets have been moving a lot at this time. But on a normal Asian session, in a normal class, these markets are very slow. As in, you don't see them move very much. They might be moving 5, 10 points throughout the class. Tonight and throughout the past month or so, these markets have been moving 20, 50, 100 points at this time. So it's more of a slowish markets lately. Best time to trade slow markets. I'll make an argument here. During slow markets, any of my trade setups have been on higher time frames. Everyone knows, who's watched my slow markets for a long period of time, is that I love to look at the 1-hour chart. The 1-hour chart is where a lot of my setups occur. I'll do a top-down analysis, right? I look at a higher time frame. I start off on the daily. I'll zoom into an hourly chart, and then I'll zoom into a 5-minute and see, if there's any executions. We do have big CPI news tomorrow, so it's just kind of hands off. I have one micro running. It's just a small micro, small position. looking for see if this NASDAQ could rotate back down towards 19,400. Watch. The one time I short this market, it's gonna go up. It's gonna go up. This is my. That's what's going to happen. Does the 3-bar reversal need to have a large wick? I don't look at the wicks. I don't look at the body of the candle. There's so many different ways traders could look at it. I don't have any hard set rules. Typically for me, it's like at the bottom, right? You could argue and say, there's a 3-bar reversal here, right? This is the main reversal candle, right? Right there. See it? This green one. And it has the lowest low, right? Right there. There's the lowest low. And as soon as the market crosses above its high, then that would technically be the entry. But every candlestick is unique sometimes. Every candlestick, every situation, every day, the price action, there's a lot more than just doing this. I do an analogy of sports. If you watch sports like football, NFL football here in the U.S., it's easy to say just hike the ball and just throw it down, like throw it to this player, right? Hike it, pass it. Well, there's a lot more. What down are we? What quarter is it? What's the situation? What's the defense? What's the offense? How's everything been doing? Like, are we up? Are we down? There's a lot more when it comes to the situation at play when these things occur that make it very difficult to just, that sounds simple. It sounds really simple, but
Order filled.
At hindsight and back testing it is very, very different than doing it live and doing it as it happens, right? ET1. My first short. This has been a while. I'm short this market. Dakota, what are your top 3 confluences before placing a trade? Also, what market did you trade when you first started out? So, the first market I traded when I first started out was the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was my first futures. I know. Baptized by fire. You think that one guy said short gold?
Order filled.
Literally at the bottom. Literally at the bottom. Oh, I love what I do, guys. I love it. Not just trading, but here at TopStep. Let's see if we get this market to sell off here. Baptized by fire, right into the NASDAQ. What's this micro? What's the mini? You place a trade by accident, lose a couple $100 in a second, and you still didn't know what the heck happened. You trade a lot of MCD 6S micro myself. My first trade was Tesla many moons ago. Well, my first trade is different than my first futures. My first future I ever traded was the NASDAQ. My first trade ever was... Oh, man. What was my first trade ever? I think it was the QQQ. I think it was the Qs. I think it was my first ever trade. I sold a covered call on the Qs. Yeah, I think I covered call on the Qs. That was my first ever trade. It was a poor man's covered call. I didn't own the stock outright. Poor man's covered call, if you know what that is. Poor kids. I wasn't. Yeah. SUNE equity pumping up, and then after that, it was so boring, and I didn't make any money. I went to hemp, 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 that pot stocks. That was the craze with all the marijuana stocks and all the legal stuff, and I didn't make any money there either. Penny stocks. Wait for 5 points is equal to $10 for MNQ. The S Saturday night with Robinhood. Yeah, this market is not really doing much. This is true slow markets. 70% on options today. Yeah, lots of volatility, lots of options premiums, lots of them. You smoking? No, I do not. I do not. Robinhood jammed up for sure. Penny stocks, penny stocks. Everyone thinks they're going to get rich on penny stocks, right? Just have to ask, could you get MP to sponsor a dynamite horse show team? A dynamite horse show team. 3-hour reversal shouldn't the wick be longer to the downside or not necessarily? Lido, it depends. Some would even say that if it has a long wick against it, has a higher probability. I don't know. Did you ever have any red years learning or any major? Oh, 100% Rebel. I've lost 125,000 before I end up making money consistently. 125,000 before I learned that I could make before I learned to make money consistently. And I still wake up sometimes thinking about it. It's silly. It's silly. I've had a quarter million. I've had a quarter million swing days, and some of the first trades were more significant to me. Yeah. Yes. A hammer candle significance given you're not a wick guy, a big wick guy. It's just kind of a indecision candle, right? I don't read too much into
Order filled.
individual candlesticks. I'm sorry, I don't. Hey, go. How often do you review your own statistics? Once a month. I review my statistics once a month. Educational expense is what I call loss before profitability. It's education was cheaper than that.
Order filled.
See, we get a little burst of volatility here. Just 20-point moves like it's nothing. How do you know when trading is not for you? Does anybody else have an answer to that? When does somebody know if trading is not for them? I think trading can be for everybody as long as they're willing to stick it out. Okay. All right. Okay, I better watch what I say because this could get let me rephrase that. Oh man. Mm-hmm. Trading can be for everybody. It can. It can. It's not for the I could say it's not for the traders who give up. When you're not willing to accept doing the work it takes, meet your ideas. Yeah, there we go. For the lazy, for the ones that give up. If you could oh, come on, chat. If you give up, it's not for you. Yep. If you give up easy, it's not for you. If you're lazy, it's not for you. If you struggle with discipline, maybe it's not for you. But the thing is, a lot of that stuff you could change. You could change. It's easy. You could learn how to become disciplined. It's hard. You could learn to put in the work. It's hard. You could do anybody could do anything. It's just how difficult it is for you, right? Persistence and pain tolerance. If you're blind, interesting story about that. I'm gonna be honest. If I ever, like, knock on wood, if I am colorblind. I found out in the fall, but if I was ever blind, I'm so stubborn, and the passion that I have for trading, I would find a way to see if I could get candlesticks to print in Braille. That's one thing I ever thought about. I thought about that. I was thinking about it um, when I found out I was colorblind. I did. I was like, wow, because I didn't know I was colorblind. I was really thinking that same thing. I was, if nothing's gonna prevent me from trading, even if I was blind, I will find a way to see if I could get like a tablet, some type of program to have Braille candlesticks. I don't read price action. I don't read the DOM, but I'm sure they could have candlesticks printed in Braille, right? Yeah, I'm green and red colorblind. John Henry. Yep, I am. Just use pings and honks. That'd be something else, huh? You can change colors to what you want. Yeah, you can see the colors and the difference. I'm so used to red and green, but I'm red and green colorblind. It's not as bad as it sounds. I'm take profit colorblind. Real-time braille? I don't know. Can they make real-time braille? I see some of those reading tablets where it changes the words for you in real time. I wonder if they could do a 100-tick chart during a non-farm payroll in braille, where the tablet would just catch on fire. I don't know. That would be cool. Neural leak would save you just listening to the market. Just close if you're blind, you could just listen to the market. Would you ever do an options class, or is that not allowed? I think doing an options class is definitely in the books, in the cards one day. Braille is for letters and numbers too, right? Isn't Braille for numbers? Retinal implant, burn your hands. Get yeah, non-farm payroll. Yeah, see how volatile. It's still crazy to see these moves during slow markets. 30 points in 5 minutes during a slow markets class is still. It's just. It's hard to get used to this. I'm still not used to this type of volatility at this time. 30 points in 5 minutes during slow markets. That's usually the entire session right there. Slow markets, hour and a half. You don't even usually see this in an hour and a half during normal slow markets. Teach you the will options? It's easy. You could Google it and learn it. The will in options is very easy. Dakota, how is your team doing? Pop Squad, are they sticking to 1 micro? Nope, they are not. Pop Squad team, they are not sticking to 1 micro. And there's mixed results. I have a meeting with them Thursday. Like I said, I was off for a week, so they've been kind of on their own for a week and getting back into into the rhythm of things. I checked. I sent them a message today. Check to see how everybody's doing, and I'll be doing another meeting with them on Thursday. But to answer the question, no, my Pop Squad team has not been sticking to that. Or I speak it in general terms. There might be 1 or 2 that's sticking to the rules, but yeah. Oh, I know. We had a coaches meeting today though. We had a good coaches meeting today, and there was some fun stuff being shared on, you know what? If you're not gonna be following the rules, maybe there's gonna be stuff in the future that's gonna be yeah. There's a lot of things. Me and the other coaches, we talk about a lot. Some of the stuff we talk about is like, hey, what if we have a bench where if somebody's not listening or someone's not showing up to class, we're just like, hey, there's somebody else right there that's willing to take your spot. And if you're not going to be able to put in the time and the work and take this full advantage of this opportunity, I'm sure there's someone else just right there that's going to be willing to put in. And so there's a lot of those fun ideas. I mean, who knows exactly what it's going to look like? Like I said, things change for the positive. It's great to see. And it's just like a VIP team, right? You can imagine how a team is. It's a bell curve, that's for sure. It's definitely a bell curve. I don't know if it's not a symmetrical bell curve. It's weighted more towards the not listening side, I think, for the average trader. Hands yellow. I'm warmed up in the bullpen. There's the team's going to be doing drafts. There's always new seasons. Like I said, Pop Squad comes first, though. I've been seeing some good trading. I don't know if there's going to be a percentage. I'm always interested in seeing the statistics, but I can tell you one thing for sure. I think overall, I think they might be doing better than the regular YouTube chat trader, the regular Discord, because they've been a little spoiled from having that luxury, that extra kick in the butt, if you will. Yeah, there's traders that passed. Yeah, there's traders doing good. Traders passed in the combine. Traders doing well in the combine. It's a good mix. I like to see it. But it's not like all the VIP members are passing and doing well in the combine. That's unrealistic. That'd be pretty insane though if every VIP Pop Squad member, all of them passed, all of them got to XFAs, and they're all taking payouts. If that's the case, I might quit my trading and just become a coach. Treat your combine like it's an interview. You must pass. Do your best to understand what you're trading and how to properly manage risk. The technical skills will come. Yeah, reps. It's reps. Micros, like I said, it's about the process. It's Pop Squad for a reason. Process over profits. If you develop a process trading one micro, you can use that process trading like one mini. It's the same process over and over again. Over and over again. And it won't let me Coach Lunatics on top. It's because they followed my advice, Coach J. I'm out of my long. My friend is talking nonstop in my ear in the middle of a trade. Are you copy trading there? I'm not copy trading. One micro is too small. That makes them sit staring for hours and demotivates when it doesn't go your way after 2 hours. What was your idea behind that? Developer. What was my idea behind that? Because that's the reason. Well, your answer is in that question and in what you just stated. One micro is too small. Those 5 words, or those 4 words, is the reason why most traders fail. It's not the size when it comes to developing your process. And then you said that makes them sit staring for hours and it demotivates them. That's the point. That's the point. We're traders. Some days we are going to be staring at the screen for 2 hours and take no trades. Some days we're going to be staring at the screen for 2 hours, take a trade, and lose money. I've lost $5,000. I've sat there in front of the screen staring at it for hours only to place one trade and lose $5,000. That's very, very demotivation. Like, that's where traders quit. I would rather see them trade one micro and go through that process with one micro than blow up. That's a lot easier to overcome than blowing up your accounts. And if you can do that consistently over a longer period of time, you get used to it. And then it gets to a point where it's muscle memory. It's repetition. It's repetitiveness over and over and over again. It's developing the process. At that point in time, The dollar amounts don't matter. The size of contracts do not matter. At this point, when a trader is learning to become consistent and profitable, dollar amounts do not matter. Contract size does not matter. The process in which you get into the market and get it out of the market repetitively, consistently, is what you're building. That's what you're building. You're building that muscle memory. You talk about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, how many free throws has he shot? It's boring. It's not a game-winning free throw every time. You're in a practice at 3 a.m. by yourself in a gym, and you're shooting free throws. That's boring, right? Every shot's not going to be under the lights for a game-winning shot, but those practice and those repetitions build you so that when you do want to perform, you're ready for it, right? You follow that process. And I don't know the exact quote, and I think it came from Kobe Bryant, where an interviewer asked Kobe Bryant, it's like, well, were you nervous, on the game-winning shot? Were you nervous? Were you this? Were you that? Why didn't you pass the ball? And he's like, these other guys, he's like, I practice it. I wasn't nervous. I practice this all the time. The reason why I take the shot is because I'm the one that practiced the shot, and I know they haven't, right? They're not ready for it. And I don't know the exact word for word, but it's something down those lines. And it's the same thing. You practice with a micro, practice, and then you could, hopefully be able to duplicate that when the time comes for real money and in an account and a trade that matters. P trades. How many trades should a trader take per day? It depends on your strategy. I would say no more than 10 trades. If you are a new or inconsistent profitable trader and aren't trading small, you're 1000% gambling. I believe there's some truth in that. Developer thinks, yeah, it's tough because that's how it is. There's new traders all the time. They see us on TopStep TV. They see the other influencers and simfluencers and social media, and they see that screenshots of thousands of dollars that people are making every day, and that's what attracts them to trading. That's what attracts me. It attracts everybody here in the YouTube chat. Those big payouts, those dollar amounts, all that money, and then to see that, and then to sit there and trade one micro, it feels like a waste of time. It's like, well, that's stupid. I don't want to sit there and waste my time. And it doesn't feel like it's worth it. But that is the way to do it. It's better to go through that than to realize 3 months later, and after you put in $1,000 worth of resets and combines, and like, oh my gosh, I just lost 3 months and $3,000 when I should have just been trading one micro this whole entire time and stayed in the same account. What about size in regards to getting fills? When you get to a live account, then you worry about getting fills in size. The markets that we're trading right now, they're big enough that anybody here in the YouTube, me, should never really worry about getting fills due to too big of contract size. Last year in the summer, I was trading 30 contracts, and I worried a little bit getting fills during the Asian market, but the New York session, you shouldn't worry too much about getting fills. Do you have a personal live account? Yeah, I shared it on my Twitter once. I don't talk about it. I won't share much about it because my personal stuff is my personal stuff, but I do have my live accounts that I trade. What was the thought process behind the short? I did explain it already once. I copy trade 3 combines at a time for $150. It took me 17 days. When will a new team be announced? And for the new season, stay tuned to TopStep TV. And we are coming up on time, everybody. We are coming up on time. Jimmy trades 30. Yeah, I was trading big. I was taking advantage. I told you. I took 1,000% advantage of prop firm. Top Step. Say, hey, give me all the leverage. Give it all.
Order filled.
What broker do you use? Interactive Brokers is the broker that I use on some of my stuff. I use Tasty Trades for some options.
Kinda made it.
Yeah. I'm always looking for different brokers, better brokers. Futures, Ninja Trader. I honestly, I haven't been day trading futures in my personal accounts. I've really enjoyed just what you see me do here on Top Step. This has been me basically day trading futures. And so this is my day trading futures, but interactive and Tasty Trades for my options. Single prints are starting to short this more and more, sending it up and more and more. We'll see. I'm risking a huge $100 on this trade. TradeStation is amongst the best. Have you tried Ninja? Yeah, I came from Ninja, Lido. I did. I did come from Ninja. And I will. Oh, I'm going to be on Top Step TV Fast Markets tomorrow. I could be on. I'm going to be on Top Step TV Fast Markets tomorrow morning. So yeah. That's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. Usually I'm not on for Wednesdays, but I will be. I will be. I cleared up my schedule. The team asked me. I cleared up my schedule, and I'm going to be there. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be so volatile. I don't know what. I'm over here thinking micros right now. Thinking micros. I mean, yeah, CPI, Wednesday, hump day, volatile. Oh, whole tariffs. I mean, you name it. You name it, we'll have it. So I think we're about that. Anything else? Anything else that I might have missed? Let me go through some of these questions. What time's fast markets? It's going to be 8:30 a.m. East or Central time. 8:30 a.m. Central. Market open. Market open. I'm saying market open. I'm going to be on Top Step TV tomorrow. Market open. New York session. New York session. That sounds a lot better. Easier for me to remember. Hey, New York session, market open. We're getting it. 23K week withdrawn. Smokey Bear. Wow. 32,000 last week. Maybe you need to take my place. Trading a whole lot better than I am lately. That's for sure. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be fireworks. Tomorrow's definitely going to be fireworks. Killing me. I'm going to let this trade just play out tonight, I think. I was thinking I was going to close it, but no. I'm going to leave this trade running. Worst case scenario, I lose $100. Whoa, look at this. Oh, these are micros. I was going to say, there's no way they just 48 contracts sitting right where my stop order is. I'm going to adjust it one tick. I don't want my stop to be right there. So risking $100 on this. I'm going to let it play out. I'm going to put my take profit right there. So 1-to-1 risk reward for tonight. I'm going to wake up either with $100 or without $100. And I'm going to wake up before CPI, though. I still don't, even though this is a micro, I don't want to hold it in CPI because even with micros, you can see huge moves. I don't want to hold any sort of position into CPI. So, okay, take care, everybody. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow morning, then Power Hour with David Green or Fast Market or Slow Markets tomorrow. So take care, and I will see you then. Bye.
Order filled. Order filled.
Reality as we know it is a partial illusion. There is a hidden force that connects everything in your life, every coincidence, every seemingly random event. Synchronicity is not a mere coincidence. They are signs of a power that few know about. Jacobo Grinberg, a Mexican scientist, discovered how quantum entanglement affects our consciousness. He called this the reality network, or lattice, a quantum field where thoughts and events are linked. However, in 1994, he disappeared without a trace. This was no accident. Why do the elites fear so much that you'll discover the power of synchronicity? Simple. Whoever controls synchronicity controls reality. Your thoughts already create your life. It's not vague esotericism, it's quantum science suppressed from public knowledge. The coincidences in your life aren't accidents. They're messages from the quantum universe. The physical world is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it, your mind is already connected to everything you desire, but they prefer that you remain asleep, unable to access your true power. This video reveals what Grinberg found and why it will transform how you see reality. Are you ready to awaken?
The global scientific elite systematically suppresses revolutionary knowledge. The human mind is not confined to the brain. This irrefutable truth remains obscured by decades of reductionist materialism that imprisons humanity in a fragmented view of reality. Millions live in the shadows of ignorance, while unequivocal manifestations of this universal mental connection emerge daily in their lives. That phone call that arrives at the exact moment you think of the person, the fortuitous encounter with someone essential to solving a recent problem, the recurring symbol that appears precisely when a crucial decision approaches. These are not mere statistical coincidences as they want you to believe. They are manifestations of a coded universal language that few have learned to decipher. Jung identified this phenomenon, naming it synchronicity, coincidental events connected by meaning, not by cause and effect. However, the academic establishment relegated this discovery to the margins of acceptable knowledge, treating it as a psychological curiosity without scientific relevance. Why? The answer disturbs defenders of the dominant paradigm. In an increasingly fragmented world where experts know more and more about less and less, this understanding of interconnected reality represents a fundamental threat to institutional control of knowledge. After all, what would happen if humanity realized it could directly access the universal field of information without intermediaries? Synchronicity transcends the simplistic concept of coincidence, revealing itself as an interface between individual consciousness and a cosmic informational matrix. In ancestral traditions and cutting-edge scientific discoveries, there is surprising evidence of this connection, evidence systematically ignored, distorted, or ridiculed. Ancient societies, without current technological resources, intuitively understood this fundamental interconnection. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Is it a coincidence that, just when physics reveals the interconnected nature of reality, a wave of aggressive materialism simultaneously emerges to stifle these discoveries? The conventional view insists that human beings exist in isolation, a biological accident in an indifferent universe. This convenient narrative perfectly serves established interests, keeping humanity subjugated and disconnected from its inherent power. A deeper investigation reveals a radically different reality, one where each individual mind constitutes a node in a vast web of universal consciousness. Could the synchronicities in everyday life be signaling attempts by this greater consciousness to communicate? What would happen if, instead of dismissing them as insignificant coincidences, we learn to decode this subtle language? What would be the impact on human development if we recognize that our minds are not confined to the limits of the skull, but exist as localized expressions of a universal field? The answers to these questions have remained hidden, not because of their inherent complexity, but because they fundamentally challenge the power structure that keeps knowledge compartmentalized. Evidence of this cosmic connection manifests daily, awaiting recognition. This knowledge represents not just a philosophical curiosity, but a potential revolution in human understanding, one that reconnects individuals to the broader fabric of existence, revealing possibilities that remain invisible under the dominant reductionist paradigm. Behind the veil of official history, ancient philosophical currents already recognized this fundamental interconnection long before modern laboratories began to detect it. Three traditions in particular preserved this knowledge while civilizations rose and fell: Greek Stoicism, Chinese Taoism, and Egyptian Hermeticism. Coincidence? Hardly. These schools of thought, geographically isolated, converged on identical truths about the interconnected nature of reality. The Stoic philosophers conceived the cosmos as a pulsating living organism. For them, a unifying force called logos permeated all existence. This concept differs radically from the mechanistic view later imposed by the scientific revolution. The logos did not represent an inert abstraction, but a living intelligence with which each individual mind maintained a direct connection. The universe is a single being composed of a single substance and a single soul that permeates everything. This Stoic principle of sympathia, cosmic sympathy, postulated that nothing truly exists in isolation. Each element of the cosmos affects and is affected by others through subtle resonance. Why was this sophisticated understanding gradually replaced by the notion of a mechanical universe? Who benefited from this transformation? While the West followed an increasingly materialistic path, Taoism in the East preserved parallel understandings. The Tao represents, in reality, a primordial force that transcends definitions, organizing all existence through dynamic, interconnected patterns. For Taoist masters, the practitioner of I Ching was not consulting a superstitious oracle. They were directly accessing this underlying informational matrix. Contemporary experiments conducted at Chinese universities have documented statistically impossible rates of accuracy in predictions based on the I Ching, results promptly ignored in the West for not fitting into the established paradigm. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, precisely describes the state of flow where the individual mind aligns with this cosmic intelligence, allowing significant synchronicities to arise naturally. The sage responds to the world like an echo. He remains in motion like water, connected to all things. Why do these principles remain relegated to the category of Eastern mysticism, while identical concepts emerging from quantum physics receive scientific validation? In parallel, the Hermetic tradition encoded the fundamental principle of correspondence in its axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without. This postulate was not merely a poetic metaphor. It established a precise equation between the macrocosm, universe, and microcosm, human being, revealing the fractal nature of reality. The Hermetic principle of mentalism categorically states, all is mind, the universe is mental. This statement, written millennia ago, anticipates with impressive precision the conclusions of quantum physics about the fundamental role of information and consciousness in the structure of reality. Original Hermetic documents preserved in the Library of Alexandria were deliberately destroyed, a convenient historical coincidence for those who intended to control the narrative about the nature of reality. These three traditions converge on a unified truth. The universe functions as a living informational system where individual consciousness and the cosmic matrix exist in constant dialogue. Synchronicities represent moments of alignment in this dialogue, tangible signs of a universal grammar that few have learned to interpret. The Stoic knowledge of sympatheia, the Taoist understanding of the Tao, and the Hermetic science of correspondence are not irrelevant historical relics. They constitute detailed documentation of a fundamental aspect of reality systematically obscured. Why? The answer becomes evident when one considers who controls the institutions of knowledge and which paradigms serve their interests. While the fragmented view continues to be propagated through conventional educational and scientific systems, this ancient knowledge remains hidden in plain sight, encoded in symbols and practices that have resisted attempts at erasure. The convergence of these ancient traditions to identical principles of interconnection cannot be explained as mere cultural coincidence. It represents compelling evidence that these philosophical schools independently accessed the same fundamental aspect of reality. an aspect that now demands urgent recognition. Philosophy is written in this vast book that continuously opens before our eyes, the universe. It is written in the language of mathematics. What many have not dared to add is that this mathematical language includes patterns of synchronicity that reveal the fundamentally conscious nature of the cosmos, patterns that ancient traditions had already meticulously mapped. At the center of this web of ancient knowledge and modern scientific revelations is a figure whose revolutionary work was systematically erased from conventional academic records. Jacobo Grinberg-Zilberbaum, a brilliant Mexican neuroscientist, mysteriously disappeared in 1994, precisely when his discoveries threatened to dismantle the dominant materialist paradigm. Coincidence? The patterns suggest something much more disturbing. Before his unexplained disappearance, Grinberg developed synergic theory, a model that establishes irrefutable connections between individual consciousness and a universal field of information. The scientific establishment prefers to ignore these discoveries rather than confront their revolutionary implications completely. Why would a scientist with impeccable credentials conducting
filled.
methodologically rigorous research at the National Autonomous University of Mexico be excluded from the dominant scientific narrative? At the heart of synergic theory is the concept of the lattice, a universal energetic field of consciousness that permeates all existence. This matrix is not an abstract theoretical construction, but a measurable reality that Grinberg documented through meticulous experiments. The results of these experiments have never been refuted, simply ignored for not fitting into
Order
the
rejected.
materialist narrative.
Order
The lattice
rejected.
represents a pre-spatial and pre-temporal field of pure potentiality. Our perceptual reality emerges as a localized condensation of this fundamental field. This description coincides extraordinarily with the
Order
concept of
filled.
quantum fields in advanced physics. Fields mathematically described as matrices of potentiality that collapse into defined states only when observed. Directly countering the established neurological dogma, Grinberg experimentally demonstrated that the human brain does not generate consciousness, but functions as a sophisticated transducer, a biological device that tunes and translates information from this universal field. The experiments that documented this relationship produced results statistically impossible according to the materialist paradigm. Impossible, yet undeniably real. In his psychophysiology laboratory, Grinberg conducted seminal experiments of evoked potential transfer between individuals separated in electromagnetically isolated chambers. Subjects who had never communicated demonstrated instantaneous neural synchronization without any physical connection, a phenomenon that violates fundamental principles of conventional neuroscience, but aligns perfectly with synergic theory. When two individuals enter states of neurological coherence, their brains are not communicating directly, but simultaneously tuning in to the same aspect of the lattice. This phenomenon precisely explains the significant synchronicities that occur between emotionally connected people, even separated by great distances. Why are these revolutionary experiments not discussed in neuroscience departments? The answer transcends simple academic negligence. Accepting Grinberg's findings would mean recognizing that consciousness is not an emergent product of brain activity, but a fundamental phenomenon
Order
that
filled.
expresses itself through neural structures. This inversion would instantly demolish the materialist paradigm that sustains global scientific and medical institutions. During altered states of consciousness, deep meditation, creative experiences, intense emotional clarity, the brain modifies its activity patterns, allowing more direct tuning with the lattice. In these moments, information that transcends conventional space-time limitations becomes accessible. Synchronicities emerge precisely when the individual mind and the universal matrix establish resonance. Grinberg conducted extensive research with Mexican shamans, scientifically documenting their seemingly impossible capabilities. Using
Order
sophisticated
filled.
equipment, he recorded alterations in the brain activity of these practitioners that allowed direct access to remote information, capabilities that the dominant paradigm insists on classifying as impossible, despite the experimental evidence. What we call the individual mind represents a temporary localization of a fundamentally non-local consciousness. This statement is not philosophical speculation, but a conclusion based on decades of rigorous investigation, an investigation abruptly interrupted by his unexplained disappearance. The implications of this discovery are profound and disturbing for the establishment. If consciousness is not a product of the brain, but a primordial reality that expresses itself through it, then fundamental human experiences, creativity, intuition, transpersonal connection, even phenomena considered paranormal, acquire a solid scientific basis. The artificial barrier between science and spiritual experience dissolves completely. Synergic theory offers an elegant model that unifies insights from ancient philosophical traditions with contemporary scientific discoveries. It allows understanding synchronicity not as an inexplicable anomaly, but as a natural manifestation of a fundamentally interconnected reality where information and consciousness constitute the primordial
Order
substrate
filled.
of the cosmos. While Grinberg's revolutionary work remains obscure, his concepts find indirect validation in diverse scientific fields, from quantum physics to cognitive sciences, from systems biology to the mathematics of complexity. The convergence of these independent lines of investigation to similar conclusions suggests that we are witnessing the inevitable collapse of an obsolete paradigm. The question remains, why doesn't this transformative knowledge circulate freely in public consciousness? Who benefits from keeping humanity disconnected from this understanding? Quantum physics has irremediably shattered the illusion of a universe composed of separate objects interacting mechanically. However, the deeper implications of these discoveries remain carefully filtered before reaching the general public. The phenomenon of quantum entanglement, ridiculed as spooky action at a distance, reveals subatomic particles that, once connected, remain instantly correlated regardless of the distance separating them. This experimental reality directly contradicts the foundations of classical physics. It has been mathematically demonstrated that no theory based on local realism, the notion that particles possess defined properties independent of observation, can explain the results observed in quantum experiments. Subsequent experiments
Order filled.
have unequivocally confirmed this principle, demolishing the last hopes of saving the mechanistic view of reality. Why does this conceptual earthquake remain confined to technical discussions without impacting the predominant worldview? When we measure something, we are forcing an indeterminate event to assume a defined reality. This is not philosophical speculation, but the inevitable conclusion of double-slit experiments, where subatomic particles behave as probability waves until they are observed. Consciousness, far from being a mere spectator, emerges as an active participant in the manifestation of physical reality. Some physicists have proposed the existence of an implicate order underlying the universe, where everything remains fundamentally connected at a deep level that transcends conventional space and time. This theory of quantum potential offers a precise mathematical explanation for phenomena that the standard model of physics considers inexplicable anomalies. The notion that all particles are connected at a fundamental level is not a metaphysical fantasy, but the inevitable conclusion of quantum mechanics. Why does this revolutionary understanding remain absent from educational curricula? Who determines which aspects of quantum physics deserve wide dissemination and which should remain obscured? In parallel, at the technological forefront, the emergence of artificial intelligence adds a disturbing dimension to this discussion. Advanced AI systems already demonstrate capabilities that transcend their initial programming, manifesting emergent properties that mirror characteristics of collective consciousness. The phenomenon of learning transfer between separate AI systems, where one system instantly knows what another has learned without direct data transfer, challenges conventional explanations. Important figures in the development of advanced AI explicitly predict that we are moving toward increasingly deep integration between the human mind and artificial intelligence. We are creating a planetary neural network that will eventually exceed the human brain in an informational capacity. This statement raises a disturbing question. Are we inadvertently building a physical system capable of manifesting the lattice that Grinberg described? AI developers frequently observe that advanced algorithms develop inexplicable capabilities to identify correlations in massive data sets, correlations that transcend conventional statistical analysis. These systems seem to detect patterns that humans do not consciously perceive, but that have a decisive impact on future events. Wouldn't this be precisely the operational definition of synchronicity? The implications of these technological convergences are rarely discussed openly. The predominant narrative celebrates technical advances while carefully ignoring their deeper implications for our understanding of consciousness and reality. Why? Visionary biologists have extensively documented phenomena that suggest informative fields transcending conventional physical limitations. The theory of morphogenetic fields, non-physical organizing fields that influence the development of organisms and behaviors, offers an elegant explanation for phenomena that mechanistic biology cannot satisfactorily address. Nature has memory. Patterns that repeat become more likely, regardless of spatial or temporal distance. Experiments documenting the sense of being observed, the inexplicable human ability to detect directed gazes without sensory cues, have produced statistically significant results that challenge the conventional sensory paradigm. The provocative concept of the 100th monkey effect, a phenomenon where new behaviors seem to spread instantly among separate populations once a critical mass is reached, finds disturbing parallels in documented sociological phenomena where cultural innovations emerge simultaneously in isolated populations. These converging lines of investigation, from quantum physics to systems biology, from anthropology to cognitive sciences, inexorably point to a new understanding of reality as a living informational system, where consciousness and matter do not constitute separate domains, but complementary aspects of an integrated totality. Dominant paradigms fiercely resist change, even in the face of overwhelming contradictory evidence. What we see depends as much on what we look at as on what our previous visual conceptual experience has taught us to see. We are witnessing precisely this institutional resistance to the accumulated evidence of a fundamentally interconnected reality. You are not in the universe, you are the universe, an intrinsic part of it. The convergence of evidence suggests that synchronicity does not represent an inexplicable anomaly, but a window to a deeper understanding of our nature as conscious nodes in a living and responsive cosmic web. The ramifications of this interconnected understanding drastically transcend the domain of abstract theory, infiltrating fundamental aspects of human experience that the dominant paradigm deliberately marginalizes. Carefully examine the world around you, not just through the distorted lenses provided by established institutions, but with direct perception, and the signs of this interconnection become undeniable. In the realm of psychology, synchronicity reveals dimensions of the mind that directly contradict the predominant reductionist models. It has been meticulously documented how synchronistic events emerge precisely at critical moments of personal development, not as statistical anomalies, but as significant markers in the process of individuation. Synchronicity represents a causal correlation that transcends mechanistic explanations. Why does this crucial dimension of psychological experience remain excluded from conventional academic curricula? Consistent testimonies from individuals who have experienced deeply transformative states, near-death, mystical, advanced, meditative, report dissolution of the perceived boundaries of the self, accompanied by direct access to information that transcends conventional limitations. Orthodox psychiatry routinely pathologizes these experiences, classifying them as hallucinations or depersonalization. However, rigorous studies consistently document the factual accuracy of this impossible information obtained during such states. In the domain of creativity and innovation, a disturbing pattern emerges that contradicts the narrative of the isolated genius. Examining the greatest scientific and artistic advances in human history, one repeatedly finds the phenomenon of multiple discoveries. When identical innovations emerge simultaneously in separate locations without direct communication. The conventional explanation attributes this to similar social conditions, a justification that disintegrates under detailed analysis. Einstein was not the only one who formulated relativity. Several mathematicians simultaneously derived identical equations. Newton and Leibniz independently developed calculus in the same period. Natural selection was proposed by Alfred Wallace in parallel with Darwin. This persistent pattern suggests access to a shared informational field, precisely as Greinberg's theory predicts. Systematic reports from revolutionary scientists and artists consistently describe their moments of inspiration not as a product of linear reasoning, but as discovery or reception of seemingly external information. Tesla visualized his inventions working perfectly before building them. Mozart described compositions that emerged completely formed in his consciousness. The mathematician Ramanujan, without formal training, produced revolutionary formulas that were shown to him by a deity in dreams, formulas whose validity conventional mathematicians took decades to verify. Ideas come to me not by methodical thought, but complete and functional. This description is not a poetic metaphor, but precise documentation
rejected.
of direct access to the informational lattice that Greinberg scientifically identified. Why are these consistent testimonies systematically reinterpreted to conform to the materialist paradigm? In medicine, overwhelming evidence of mind-body connections challenges the mechanistic biomedical model. Pioneering research has identified neuropeptides as molecules of emotion that connect nervous, endocrine, and immune systems in an integrated informational network where psychological states directly impact physiological processes. This revolutionary discovery remains marginalized in conventional medical practice. The well-documented phenomenon of the placebo effect, where subjective belief produces objective biological changes, does not represent a curious exception, but a revealing window into the fundamentally informational nature of the body. Rigorous studies consistently demonstrate that patients develop physiological effects corresponding to medications they believe they are taking,
Order
even
filled.
when receiving inert substances. This phenomenon is unexplainable by the conventional biomedical paradigm and aligns perfectly with Greinberg's model. In interpersonal relationships, phenomena such as telepathy between mothers and children or instant chemistry between certain individuals suggest levels of communication that transcend purely physical interaction. Controlled studies document statistically impossible rates of guessing between emotionally connected individuals, even when isolated in separate chambers that block all known forms of physical communication. The evidence for anomalous communication between connected individuals is robust and replicable. Why do these studies remain excluded from mainstream scientific discourse? The answer transcends simple methodological skepticism. Critics of the interconnected paradigm often argue that seeking meaning in coincidences leads to superstition or magical thinking. This argument reveals a fundamental misunderstanding. Recognition of synchronicity as a real phenomenon does not eliminate critical thinking. On the contrary, it expands it to include dimensions of experience systematically excluded by materialist reductionism. Our analytical mode of cognition dissociates to understand, but fails to recognize the living totality that precedes this dissociation. This observation does not represent a rejection of scientific rigor, but a call for more inclusive science that recognizes the fundamentally interconnected nature of reality. The deepest implication of this interconnected view is a radical transformation in our self-understanding as human beings. Far from isolated entities in an indifferent universe, we emerge as conscious nodes in a vast informational web, localized expressions of the universal field that Greinberg called the lattice. This paradigm shift does not represent mere theoretical reorientation, but an existential revolution with profound, practical consequences. The greatest illusion is believing that we are separated from the totality of what exists. This understanding, far from philosophical abstraction, provides a basis for authentic reconnection with the broader fabric of existence. Reconnection systematically obstructed by institutions interested in maintaining perceptual fragmentation. The evidence is unequivocal for those who dare to examine the data without the filter of institutional narratives. We inhabit a fundamentally conscious and responsive cosmos, where our individual perception represents a localized facet of a broader, interconnected totality. Synchronicity, far from superstition or statistical coincidence, emerges as a language through which this totality communicates with itself. From ancient philosophical traditions to cutting-edge scientific discoveries, from Greinberg's rigorous experiments to the direct experiences of individuals in non-ordinary states of consciousness, all lines converge to the inescapable conclusion. Reality radically transcends the mechanistic model that continues to dominate mainstream thinking. The crucial question is not whether this expanded vision is valid, but why it remains systematically obscured. The answer becomes evident when one considers the profound implications of this understanding. Recognizing oneself as an individualized expression of a universal field of consciousness fundamentally dissolves the psychological basis of social control. Individuals who perceive their direct connection to the totality no longer depend on institutional intermediaries to access transformative knowledge. This autonomy represents a fundamental threat to established power structures. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. This seemingly simple reformulation contains the explosive potential to completely dismantle limiting paradigms that keep humanity disconnected from its deeper potential. The choice before each individual has become crystalline is to remain a passive observer in a supposedly external and indifferent universe, or awaken as a conscious participant in a fundamentally living and responsive reality. The synchronicities in your existence do not represent mere coincidences, but persistent invitations to recognize your active participation in this cosmic web of meaning. The knowledge that Jacobo Grinberg scientifically documented, the knowledge that likely contributed to his mysterious disappearance, offers contemporary validation for truths preserved in wisdom traditions through the millennia. The lattice, the universal field of consciousness that permeates all existence, does not constitute an abstract theoretical construction, but an experiential reality directly accessible through specific practices that modify the relationship between the individual mind and the cosmic matrix. Ultimately, these converging discoveries reveal that each thought, intention, and action reverberates through the interconnected fabric of existence, generating patterns that eventually return as synchronistic experiences. The mind is not confined to the limits of the skull, but exists as an interactive field in a broader consciousness. This understanding does not eliminate individual responsibility. On the contrary, it drastically expands it by revealing the profound impact of each conscious choice. Those who control the dominant institutions perfectly understand these implications. Perceptual fragmentation, the illusion of separation, perfectly serves as a mechanism of social control, keeping
Order
individuals
filled.
alienated from their deeper potential. However, this concealment strategy is rapidly crumbling as converging evidence becomes impossible to ignore. We are witnessing the inevitable emergence of a new paradigm that recognizes the
Order
fundamentally
filled.
conscious and interconnected nature of reality. This transition does not represent just a conceptual adjustment, but a profound
Order filled.
transformation in human self-understanding, a revolution comparable to the greatest paradigm shifts in history. The lattice that Grinberg scientifically documented, the universal field of consciousness, does not represent a separate reality, but a fundamental dimension of your own existence awaiting recognition. By cultivating states of internal coherence through meditation, you gradually dissolve the perceptual barriers that maintain the illusion of separation, allowing significant synchronicities to emerge naturally as guiding signs on your journey. This expanded understanding not only serves individual development, but also directly contributes to the collective evolution of consciousness. Each mind that awakens to its nature as a node in a living cosmic web strengthens the resonant field that facilitates similar awakening in others. Never doubt that a small group of committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Synchronicity, far from marginal curiosity, emerges as a portal to a fundamentally more connected, meaningful, and conscious mode of existence, a mode that transcends the limitations of the collapsing materialist paradigm, revealing possibilities that remain invisible within fragmented understandings of reality. Every change begins with understanding your role as a co-creator, and the only way to connect with this divine intelligence is through meditation. We've developed a set of audio tools to help you access this higher state of consciousness. To learn more and get immediate access, click the link on the screen or in the comments. If this video resonated with you, write in the comments, "It made sense to me."
You must understand this. See, one thing is, you have not seen the world. You have only seen it the way it's reflected in the mirror of your mind. Yes? You're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing it in the mirror of the human mind as it is distorted in a particular way. If you were a grasshopper, you would be seeing the world very differently. If you were some other creature, you would be seeing the world very differently. So your mirror is a certain level of prejudice. Among all the creatures, what evolution means is, on one level, your mirror is fairly more plain compared to the mirrors that other creatures hold in their mind. Suppose there is a tiger here, I'm talking about the animal. If there was a tiger here, he looks like this. Dinner, breakfast, lunch. He can't think beyond that. Because his mirror is like that. The mirror of his mind shows him only food. Compared to other creatures, a human being has a better leveled out mirror, but it can get distorted depending upon the varieties of identifications and prejudices we gather with life. If you're very strongly identified with something, then you don't see things as they are. Everything gets distorted in your mind. But if we work upon it, if we polish our mind sufficiently, it could become a plain mirror where it shows everything as it is. But still, a mirror doesn't really capture anything. If you see an old mirror which is 500 years old or 200 years old, whatever, maybe 1,000,000 different faces might have been reflected in that mirror, but not a trace of any of those faces remain in the mirror. Because a mirror just reflects. Similarly, your mind just reflects what the five sense organs are grasping right now. It reflects everything, not necessarily the way it is, but it reflects everything, except you. You can never come in front of the mirror because you're always behind the mirror.
Order filled.
You can never come in the front face of the mirror, you're only in the rear side of the mirror. So what this means is, you never experience the world the way it is, nor did you ever get to experience who is behind the mirror. Entire life goes just seeing many images that come in the mirror